We raise funds through the help of sponsors like General Mills, Heineken, Safeway, Anheuser-Busch, Coca-Cola, and so many more. This year we've been especially successful with our Mervyn L. Jones Golf and Tennis Tournament, where $750,000 was raised in large part due to the work of the late Stephanie Tubbs Jones. We also sponsor essay contests and issue forums. This year, for the first time, we screened a film by 13-year-old Jordan Coleman, who did a documentary on encouraging young African-American men to stay in school. DC high school students were able to view the presentation, and many executives were on hand to see it. We are an active and hardworking group. However, we would not be successful if it were not for the individual accomplishments and support of all of the CBC spouses, and I'd like you to meet them. They're changing things on me. They promised me they'd be here. Mrs. Alfredia Scott, co-chair of the spouses, wife of Congressman David Scott of Georgia. Mrs. Ivy Clay, secretary of the spouses and wife of Congressman Lacey Clay of Missouri. Mrs. Marita Davis Johnson, treasurer and wife of Congressman Hank Johnson of Georgia. Mrs. Vera Davis, parliamentarian, wife of Congressman Danny Davis of Illinois. The Honorable Leslie Meek, immediate past chair of the spouses and wife of CBCF Chairman Kendrick Meek of Florida. The Honorable Vivian Crichton Bishop, former spouses chair, wife of Congressman Sanford Bishop of Georgia. The Honorable Sandy Jackson, wife of Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. of Illinois. Mrs. Carolyn Rush, past treasurer of the Spouses Organization, wife of Congressman Bobby Rush of Illinois. Mr. Christian Christensen, husband of Congresswoman Donna Christensen of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Dr. Andrea Jefferson, wife of Congressman William Jefferson of Louisiana. Dr. London Thompson, wife of Congressman Benny Thompson of Mississippi. Mrs. Diane Cleaver, wife of Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver of Missouri. Dr. Elwin C. Lee, husband of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas. Mrs. Gwen Towns, wife of Congressman Adolphus Towns of New York. Mrs. Emily Clyburn, wife of Majority Whip James Clyburn of South Carolina. Mrs. Lillian Lewis, wife of Congressman John Lewis of Georgia. Mrs. Uleda Watt, wife of Congressman Mel Watt of North Carolina. The Honorable Monica Conyers, wife of Congressman John Conyers of Michigan. Mrs. Michelle Obama, wife of Senator Barack Obama of Illinois. Ambassador Sidney Williams, husband of Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California. Mrs. Kim Ellison, wife of Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota. Mrs. Alma Rangel, the one who started it all. Our chair, the wife of Congressman Charlie Rangel of New York. Mrs. Gaines Wynn, wife of former Congressman Albert Wynn of Maryland. Mrs. Renee Chenault Fatah, wife of Congressman Shaka Fatah of Pennsylvania. And our newest member, Mrs. Mariama Carson, wife of Congressman Andre Carson of Indiana. Please give all our spouses your support and love by applause. They work hard for you and for the children of this nation. Thank you for your support. Good night.
Change,